20 years, that's pretty darn impressive, right? When you reflect on that. That means we've raised 4 funds. We've invested close to $1 billion in startup companies. And it's so nice to see a whole generation of entrepreneurs grow up alongside of us. And so many of these companies are now making a difference today. And when we define difference, they're having a big impact as well as delivering on commercial success. And so as I reflect on the 20th anniversary, I hope we do more of the same, that we continue to find great entrepreneurs that want to tackle the problems of the day and grow some very, very exciting businesses. And I think in order to do that, we're going to need the support of our investors, of our friends that want to, if you would, help us build these businesses. And it's a very, very exciting time for ETF. Well, we are a mission-driven fund. So at the end of the day, what does that mean? That means we want to deliver economic returns to our investors and also see our companies have a big impact, solving some of the big problems of the day. And we think you can do both. We think some of these companies can be incredibly successful and deliver strong financial returns, as well as solve some of the big environmental challenges of the day. And so I think we're different in that respect. A lot of the people that join us that want to work at ETF are mission-driven. A lot of the entrepreneurs that we back are mission-driven. And ultimately what that means is that we're a very different type of firm with a very different type of strategy than perhaps the generalist VC. So I think we are a very different place, hopefully attracting a very different set of people with a certain value set almost to make the world a better place. Sustainability is obviously a very important theme today. And if you're not investing in a sustainable company, you're taking a real risk. And I think it was Mark Carney who said that when he was running the Bank of England. There are a lot of risks that companies are now undertaking, or if you would, have on their balance sheets that are underreported, underappreciated, especially those on the environmental side. So there's a big opportunity to encourage people to think about those risks, start to address those risks, and become a much more sustainable company. When you do that, hopefully that creates long-term shareholder value, and hopefully that creates a thriving business that will do very well into the future. We're really interested in, if you would, solutions at the intelligence level. So we're thinking about solutions that can be either deployed on existing infrastructure or tomorrow's infrastructure, where we can have a big bang for the dollar off a limited amount of capital. And the very interesting thing when you talk about digitally oriented solutions, both hardware and software solutions, perhaps around a technological platform, if you deploy those solutions, quite often you can do it very quickly and have an immediate effect. So we think about how much capital is quite often required. These types of solutions require a lot less. We think about the time it takes to deploy them. It's usually quite short. And we can have a big bang for the buck for relatively a small amount of investment. So governments are great, and it might be surprising to hear a venture capitalist say that, but I think they're very important because in Europe, certainly they provide a lot of the funding to the VC market, and they're very strong supporters of what we do. But also at the company level, the governments provide the regulation that's needed or required to get some industries to change. And certainly in Europe, they're on the front foot. So they're encouraging companies to do the right thing around their environmental footprint, and that offers a tremendous opportunity for startups that are looking to help, if you would, society change. Corporates are also very important in addition to governments because they are obviously very big potential customers for what our startups are providing. They're very important channels to market for an entrepreneurial business. And ultimately, if you're going to have a successful investment, you have to think about your exit. And the large corporates are often buying these young startups. Corporates need to change because the traditional way of doing business will not be sort of acceptable in a world where everybody must be more sustainable. And they're going to have to transition their businesses from an old way of doing something to something new. And the only way they're going to get there is through working with startups. I think impact investing has really come of age. So a lot of people are very interested now in the types of investments that people are making. And are they doing the right thing around environmental, social, and government issues? This is the old ESG approach. But this is not enough, right? You also have to, I think, drill down to what's the actual company doing and what's the impact that it's having. And I think more and more people are asking the question of what's the actual business doing? And so we as impact investors that are trying to find businesses that are going to change society for the better, we have a big role to play, and there's much more support, institutional support for what we do. So I think we've come of age. So investing in venture capital to tackle the big environmental problems of the day, that's now accepted as something that's very exciting for a lot of people and much needed. And so people see big opportunities in this space. I think when one started out, when people talked about green investing, they were talking about infrastructure, or they were talking about green bonds. But quite rightly, people have seen that if you're going to solve the problems of the day, it's really the innovator, it's the entrepreneur that's going to come up with those solutions, and it's going to be the VC that's going to back them to do that. So there is a massive opportunity as society changes to back great entrepreneurs that are solving the problems of the day.